Hello, everyone. How are you doing? This is Daryl Guberman, CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm here in Connecticut. We've been involved with quality for over 40 plus years in aerospace, medical implants, materials, printing, and plastic distribution. We dealt with all the industries there. Today, this video is about Boeing-Ansi-Anab monopoly, and we're going to prove to you without a shadow of a doubt. And in the description down below, you're going to have a recent article that came out. FAA defends self-certifying policy for plane manufacturing after Boeing's crashes. That's a feature article. It will be down in the description, and it will discuss and show without a doubt that Boeing was breaking the Sherman-Clayton Act of 1914, talking about antitrust, talking about anti-competitive and monopoly. And you will see they hit all three when it came to Daryl Guberman. And they were restraining my business ability. I'd go to Boeing, my customers would go and they say, we can't use your certificate, you're not ANAB accredited. Why? Because this is why. Boeing sits on Ansi-Anab's board. Not only their board, they sit on the board of directors at the time, and they also sit on the board that can grant, suspend, and withdraw certification. That's number one, restraint of trade. Restraint, because that's their demand. I'm sure if you looked on their purchasing documents, the purchasing people must be Ansi-Anab accredited for their ISO certificate or QMS, Quality Management Certificate, okay? So that's a restraint of trade. Number two, on their supplier portal. On their supplier portal, they require Ansi-Anab and also or international equivalent. And then you have the pièce de résistance. You have the supplier bulletin in 2002, which basically stated this. If you are AS9100 certified, as long as you're Ansi-Anab accredited, send Boeing your certificate, send us your parts, and we don't have to send a site inspector, a Boeing inspector or inspection team to look at your facility. You can't make this up. This is where it gets sticky, and I want to tell you, this goes as my deposition, and I swear, okay, this is March 13th, 2024. I swear that everything is true, accountable, attestable, and we got the data. Something that our competition does not. So let me continue. In 2013, I gave a speech at the American Society for Quality. At that time, the ASQ owned ANAB, the American National Crediting Board, 50%. ANSI, the American National Standards Institute, who's been around for almost 100 plus years, owned ANAB 50%. A Mr. Dave Levy came because he was sent there to destroy me. Yes, that's what we got. At the end of it, he said, Mr. Guberman, you're a smart guy. We can't destroy you. Do what you got to do. Well, that's what he said. He said, there is no restriction on you doing business unaccredited or accredited. And as I said before, ANAB has no problem with what you're doing. In fact, we support you, sir. So they supported me. They didn't tell it to Boeing, did they? They didn't tell it to Lockheed, did they? So I want to play this for you so that you will know that what I'm telling you is a fact. And here it is.
Okay, thank you. There is no restriction on you doing business unaccredited or accredited. And as I said, then why has no problem with you doing what
That's wrong. You're wrong.
to support you, sir.
You're wrong.
So Dave Levy was a Region 3 director. So he came there with a lot of weight. He came there, he wanted to they sent him in to say, who is this guy Guberman? What is he? Because they don't want competition in the field of certification. And I'm going to show you more. That's in 2013. 50% ownership, ASQ owns ANAB. 50% ownership, ANSI owns ANAB. In 2016, Mr. Randy Dory, who in 2009 to 15 was the vice president of ANAB, and he was the chairman and principal on the IAF Tax Forum, and they're incorporated in Delaware, the International Accreditation Forum. At the time he wrote us, he was now the technical advisor, and he was also the principal on the IF, so he had some weight. So as you can read this, everything is voluntary. He basically invited us to join. We did not join because in 2015, Randy had handed over the keys to the kingdom of the IF to a Chinese communist, National Zhao Jinwu. We're not going to get into that now. Okay, we really don't want to get into that because you know something, it is absolutely deplorable. So we've got approved by ASQ, we got approved by Randy. And do you think so? 50% ASQ, 50% ANSI, and we were all set. We didn't want that. We wanted our independence, ladies and gentlemen. Our country was founded on independence. I wanted that. I wanted to give our companies that are underneath us presently and in the past, we wanted them to have a free wheel. We want them to have the security about cybersecurity because you discover that ANSI-Anab have 10 different registrars in communist China that could take our data. And when Randy handed over leadership in 2015 to Zhao Jinwu, who was in there between 2015 and 21, he was mandated by his country of origin, Communist China, to take our data through the China National Intelligence Law, Article number 7. So this is truly a disgusting display of the breaking the Sherman-Clayton Act of 1914, anti-competitive, monopolistic, and it is absolutely a disgusting display of restraint of trade, restraint of business. Boeing had the grip, and they still do, and that's why their quality is in the shitter. Just send us the supplier bulletin. Send us your AS9100, make sure it's ANSI-Anab accredited, send us your parts. Hey, what about Daryl Guberman? What about our company? I got approval in 2013. Yes, we approve you. I was invited in 2016, but I put them off because of Communist China. Wouldn't you, ladies and gentlemen? So for those of you who are ANSI-Anab accredited, you are getting screwed. But most of you have the little saying, pay to play. That's all we're doing, Daryl. We got to buy the ticket for the game. You know something? You're no business owner. You should close down your doors. But I am going to read you what Boeing does. And this goes to David Calhoun. David Calhoun, and I have to tell this as well, this is a sidebar to all of this. David Calhoun was interviewed concerning escapes. Escapes are no more than rejects. The sadness is, and it really is sad, that David Calhoun, as the CEO and being on board since 2009, when Boeing was made an FAA regulator so that they didn't have to tell the FAA anything about the MCAS system because they are the FAA. How does one regulator watch over another regulator? I want to play this. This was on CNBC. I want to play this for you, and then I'm going to read you this poem, not just for David Calhoun, but for the whole board, because that board needs a damn animal. Because what this is telling me is he's making $22 million. You know those punching clowns with the sand in the bottom? That's it. That's why he can't answer questions. And this is proof of the pudding. So here it is. Here's Mr. David Calhoun and the interview.
An unsafe airplane fly in the first place?
Because a quality escape occurred.
Can you explain what that means? What is a quality escape?
I think that's the description of what people are finding in their inspections. Anything that could potentially contribute to an accident.
Dave Calhoun was quick to take responsibility, saying Boeing is accountable. But when pressed on exactly what had taken place, had an odd response.
How did an unsafe airplane fly in the first place?
Because a quality escape occurred.
Can you explain what that means? What is a quality escape?
I think that's the description of what people are finding in their inspections. Anything that could potentially contribute to an accident.
I think that's the description. Dear God, the only one who could salvage Boeing from their demise is, yes, Daryl Guberman. I have the tenacity, the knowledge to get them on board. These guys, I have no idea who he plays golf with. You know, I play golf too, but I'm a short guy. I play miniature golf. I'm going to read this to you because this fits well. I was asked to read it again because several people listened to my other video about David Calhoun and this faux pas. But this video today, once again, is about the whole mess, about ANSI-Anab and Boeing. being anti-competitive. So this is it, Edward Guest, and this goes to you, Dave, and it goes to your team too, your board of directors. I think they're all drinking. I don't know what they're doing. Good Enough by Edward Guest. My son, beware of good enough. It isn't made of sterling stuff. It's sometimes any man can do. It marks the many from the few. It has not merit to the eye. It's something any man can buy. Its name is but a sham and bluff, for it is never good enough. With good enough, the shirkers shop in every factory and shop. With good enough, the failures rest and lose to men who give their best. And that is for the employees who suffer for guys that can't even know what escape is. I know, I was in aerospace. These guys would walk around in their black suits and their fake tans, in December, that is. And the only time you saw this guy was during December to shake your hand and look down like this. Thank you very much. So I really feel bad for the workers at Boeing because, you know, when you have a guy that's leading you, he's not a leader. If he didn't know what escape was and he's been on board for 16 years, he should be fired now before another disaster happens. With good enough, the car breaks down and men fall short of a high renown. My son, remember and be wise. In good enough, disaster lies. With good enough, have ships been wrecked, the forward march of armies checked, great buildings burned and fortunes lost, nor can the world compute the cost. In life and money it has paid, because at good enough men stayed. Who stops at good enough shall find success has left him far behind. There is no good enough that's short of what you can do and ought. The flaw which may escape the eye and temporarily get by shall weaken under the strain and wreck the ship or car or plane. For this is true of men and stuff. Only the best is good enough. Only the best, David, and you should step down. My name is Daryl Guberman. I am the CEO of Guberman PMC LLC, a quality consulting firm. If anybody would like to jump on board, get off of the ANAB train, please don't hesitate, but I know what you're doing. I gotta pay to play, Daryl, pay to play. Good luck, because when the shit hits the fan, it already has at Boeing, the shit will ooze down into your facility. 203-556-1493 or Daryl, TQRS at yahoo.com. And I thank you.